documentary about basketball. Right.
I don't know. That sounds pretty good.
I was about to show the audience his crotch, and we're live. I don't know if that bit of dialogue got handled there. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are you?
And it's me, Brian, sitting in the dark because he's been yanking out USB leads and he doesn't know which one connects his ring light. On this episode, we are talking about anime that aired the week of, I've lost the dates.
March the 4th to the 11th, is that right?
March the 10th,
I think that's right.
Yes. There you
10th.
go. 4th to the 10th, yes.
Close, I was close.
With the exceptions of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 6, Stone Ocean, Episode 36, Made in Heaven, Part 1. We're into it, guys. We're heading towards the last lap.
Heat death of the universe.
As the gang wake up, gravity has returned to normal. Where's the priest?
Well, you say gravity's returned to normal.
Yeah, the main problem they're having is that when they wake up, they're, as Jotaro points out, 200 meters away from where they started. And it's like, that's weird. Did anyone feel us like suddenly gravity shifting over here? It's like, no, I didn't feel us suddenly gravity shifting over here. Oh, look, it's raining. What the fuck? We're soaked all of a sudden. What the fuck? We're dry all of a sudden. What's going on here?
The automatic door almost cut my leg off. It's going very fast. And it's already evening news, but we just heard the afternoon news. All right. And across the world, strange portents of doom, of apocalyptic connotations are happening everywhere. Girl goes to ice cream shops, gets a 5 scoops of ice cream. I want like a chocolate and a strawberry. And here you go, little girl. I want to get this. It's melted. It's gone. No. People are dying all over the place. But the ice cream is just everyone is that. And
also, I'm very sorry to say, Barry has been frozen in the freezer. Going to get a 20-kilogram chunk of meat. So, R.I.P. Barry. It's just like time is moving faster, but you're not aware of it. Is what everyone's problem is happening. I'm not sure how consistent it is. It's reasonably consistent is the problem. Yes.
Well, later on in the episode, it is calculated exactly how fast it's happening.
Yeah. They do have a timer on at that stage. Is it 30 times as fast or
30 times as faster?
Yeah. We got to go by clock numbers, so that'll make it easier.
Yes. So Omi's, first of all, she almost gets her foot cut off by an automatic door, and then a rock drops on her head, and it hurts her far more than it should have done from the distance that it traveled.
Well, it's the thing of the rock hits your head, and all of a sudden you're on the ground, but a rock haven't hit your head. It's like, what the fuck? Also, why is my blood already dry? What's happening here? Because she's been bleeding out for several minutes after a rock fell on her head, and being like too slow to do anything about it. So yeah, it's weird physics. Like if you try and think about it, don't worry about it. People are experiencing time quicker than it is, or they're experiencing it slower.
It's happening faster.
They're slow, time is normal. Or time is fast and they're slow.
Time is fast, they're still moving at the same speed.
That's it, okay, yeah. Oh yeah, because nature is happening the same way. Obviously, the cycle of the thing, the plants are like bustling up and growing down at night and day, that kind of thing. So yeah. It's affecting people mostly.
Bad news.
Yeah.
Where's that priest?
Yeah, it wasn't affecting that dog, which was in the traffic accident that we see.
Well, it initially, I thought it was going to be the first dog spared in JoJo when his owner is just plowed through. But then the dog also gets caught when her severed arm gets caught by another car, and I was like, bad luck, dog.
I thought the dog got out, which is the whole thing at the end.
Dear.
I was trying new things that are wacky.
Yeah, so he somehow sped time up, and that means that if Jotaro freezes time, it's not going to be as long as it normally is.
He can still freeze it for 5 seconds, but 5 seconds isn't what it used to be.
You can still you can still lay a whole plan out, even in a reduced sped up 5 seconds. I haven't flown this out. I guess that's just him thinking really quickly, and we're just seeing him. No, he's like dragging himself, because he's been injured, dragging himself, into a better position, like, with one arm. It's like, this happened
within 5 seconds.
Within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That happened within 30 times 5 seconds. Like, reduced, sped up.
So technically, Poochie is also frozen despite being in faster time or normal speed time. But yeah, the 5 seconds doesn't last. It lasts, I guess, technically 30 times less. So he's really pushing it. And obviously, for the sake of watching it, he's just standing there thinking about this. Jotaro is for ages. But he doesn't get. He's like, I can't really do much in this. It's a very limited window that I have here, and I can't do it consecutively. So we're kind of in trouble here.
They initially spot him moving around in the shadows, and just before it's about to strike Jolene and Jotaro, Anasi pulls them onto the roof. And then we get the comedy of the episode of Anasi basically saying, wanting, like,
Jotaro, I respect you so much.
Yeah. Yes.
Can
can I have your daughter's hand in marriage? I know that she's not going to want to marry me, but I'd like your approval. And Jotaro just completely blanks him. It's like,
Jotaro's like, have you gone mad from stress? Is that what's happening right now? He's like, listen, I might be a murderer on death row, and I know she's not. I know she can't accept me, and it needs to be her thing. But I'd like her father's permission because I respect you. And it's just all this whole spiel kind of goes out. And it's like, listen, I don't think it's going to happen, but I just need to get through this serious event. If you just give me your goodwill that you respect me as a man to marry or take your daughter's hand in marriage, and I swear I'll take care of her if she actually marries me, which she probably won't. But he's like, you've gone mad, Anasui, haven't you? All right, fair enough.
He just wants to know you can do it. I doesn't matter to me if I win or lose. I just want to know that I could do it. I could definitely do it.
He wants to do it like an old-fashioned way, and since his ring was thrown by his betrothed at a crocodile earlier, he's just like, well, if I ask the parents' permission, that's traditional as well. It's like, I gotta do this the old-fashioned way. Is how Anasui is.
He's been in prison for a long time. Society has changed.
Yeah.
And then we get another one of those weird. It doesn't quite work in animation, but maybe it somehow works better in animation bits where then Jolene walks across, hangs herself, drapes herself across Anasi, like they're both models, has a brief conversation, which doesn't mention the fact that she's hanging off Anasi, and then moves away from him as if she was never there.
It's like telling him a secret for and say, Anasi, we got it together, all right? Sit together, for safety. Mission priests didn't sneak up on us. Okay, keep your eyes open.
It's kind of like she's getting kind of touchy-feely.
Mysterious.
From his point of view, that's very, has she accepted me into her heart? It's like, no, she's just touchy-feely all of a sudden. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm going to say, hang off you while I have a word with my dad. So...
Well, she's also hanging off her dad at some point. So
yes, and she's also...
She's emotionally vulnerable right now.
While this other conversation has been going on, Jolene has been securing the roof by putting strings across it, hither and thither.
Jotaro once knew a man who did that strategy before and similar villain. It didn't work out well for him.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you say something.
Yeah, Alice's plan is that they go to the beach and just kick the shit out of him altogether because while he stands super fast, it's still quite physically weak. But Jotaro thinks it would be safer standing on the roof. They were not calculating on him catapulting himself on a palm tree.
That's the thing you got to watch out for, because then the force will be even more. I love that. Like, he's not only has he gotten like far powers beyond the mortal ken, but he's also like Wile E. Coyote planning his way through this thing. He's like, if I just slingshot my way onto that rooftop, everything will work out fine. All right, Poochie, whatever floats your boat.
He's Poochie, he's a character.
Yeah.
So he strikes Jotaro. You think he's been killed, stabbed through the throat, but it turned out that it was blocked by Diver Down.
Diver Down's hand was in Jotaro's throat to stop it being cut even more, so that Anasui's got taking the damage to his hand for him, but Jotaro's still bleeding out his throat and like having to crawl towards Poochie as he's freezing time for 5 seconds and Poochie's suspended in the air, ready to strike, and he's like, "This isn't gonna work. I'm in a lot of trouble right now." It's an odd problem to solve.
Yeah. Poochie explains that it's to guide humanity to happiness.
I'm not here to
Tower.
kill you. I'm here to fix everything. Sure, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm a priest who knows better about right and wrong than me.
Lots of people.
And that
But
his
yeah.
new stand is called Made in Heaven.
It is, I'm going to say, half a horse and a guy. And it's like Poochie is playing that back half of the pantomime horse and also riding the horse. Is that the best way to
Yes.
describe it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bipedal centaur.
Yes. But it does have like a
Isn't
horse
that
head coming out where
Shakespeare?
he's...
No, isn't the same thing.
It is a horse head coming out his crotch. So it looks like he's riding a horse, except there's no back to the horse. If that makes...
Yeah,
It's
so
an
it's
odd
like
look.
it's like if a pantomime horse was Bernie Clifton's emu.
Yeah, that's a
Sure.
good way of looking at it.
So you could make this cosplay by putting your legs in the horse's legs part of it, and then going, "Ooh," pretending you're riding a
Oh,
horse.
please tell me someone's done that.
Oh, I'm going to bring you to heaven. Hop on.
One guy dressed like a priest behind that horse guy.
Yes.
Like, this is part of the costume. It's very important.
Don't give that guy a piggyback. But yeah, that's your cosplay plan sorted, listeners. Yeah, so 2 more episodes to deal with this foe.
Yeah, I liked how just how threatening the kind of just the visual effect of it was, you know, while they're kind of being stalked, being terrorized by it, just going,
Yeah.
it's just woo.
It was somewhere between like a horror movie, but more specifically, like kind of like a ghost movie. Like something is wrong in the atmosphere, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. Just like, yeah, it's unsettling, you know. Probably because you can't see it, you know, and it's in your mind. All this goes to the worst places.
So this time, I think Faraki was watching possibly the Langoliers, but I'm trying to think of what else it would be.
Langoliers.
Isn't that the one where time is frozen or something? Yeah, that's.
Oh, one of those ones. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know there's something else where time is going slower, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, you could be right. I was trying to remember what the story is on that one. Yeah.
It's the plane lands, but they're the only people moving, and everything else is moving normally. And the little mouths that eat up the past are going to eat them unless they fly the plane away.
Right.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't quite get it either.
Yeah, there's a getting good use out of the whole like kind of cloud wasn't by screensaver for the background there as well.
And even your one kind of pointing out, it's like some bad CGI effect, and I'm just like, yeah, it really is. Good eye, Hermes.
The best bits though of this episode is the bit which doesn't involve our regular characters at all. It's all
checking in on everywhere else on the world. Yeah.
Those situations are the more interesting part of the episode.
It's obviously he had a bunch of ideas of what if time went faster? How would that affect everyone? Not here, everyone.
And the fact that there's so many more in the comic than they've kept in the anime definitely gives you the idea that this was the idea he was fascinated by, and going to take a little break from the main story to just do my little horror vignettes. Because it plays like a sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
As opposed to the pulpish main story.
Yeah, again, it's got like very John Carpenter with him from in the Parent 5 and then into this one as well. It's just going for a very kind of out there, very kind of trippy cosmic idea of it all together. Like, you know, it's just so big and weird and
How
scary.
do you deal with it? Yeah.
It has kind of these ramifications. So it could be like a small small event localized, but it has ramifications for everything in existence. It's gone up again. It's not up again with this one.
Then we've got Detective Conan, The Culprit, Hanzawa, Episode 5, Bakertown Rhapsody. She wakes up screaming and his housemates think he's being murdered.
It's like knocking on the door. It's like, hey, Hanzawa, are you okay? You're not being murdered there, are you? Like, which is the first thing you need to ask in Baker Town, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, quite.
That was the first bit that made me laugh, and then the rest of the episode also made me laugh several times over. So,
Yeah, as essentially the town just takes advantage of this poor visitor, screws him out of his money repeatedly.
he goes. He's like having nightmares about murder because he's a murderer, and so he's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna go out and get a few beers." He's like, "Wait, everything's closed at night." All right, all the crime happens at night, and some murderers pull up in a van. It's like, all right, we robbed them and murdered them. Well, who's that? Did someone see us? Anyone out in the streets right now is looking to get murdered. So he ducks into a shop, which is a murderer's shop, as far as I can tell. But it is also a scammer's murderer shop. So they're scamming.
Well, yes, he needs to buy something to protect himself from all the murderers in this town, and they get scammed out of all his money.
Yeah, she suggests a stun gun or a knife. At the very least, you want one of those on you at all times if you're going to be out at night doing murders, I presume. But yeah, she also seemingly takes his wallet and also what do you call that? Where you steal the money off someone's card. I've forgotten the word for it, but yeah,
skimmed her radio.
Yeah.
We don't learn that until the end of the episode. Then he goes to a hostess club where he gets scammed again there. But then also, it turns out that Kogoro is also getting scammed at the same time there, and the would-be assailants are all beaten up by Ran, who in this series has the powers of Superman, essentially.
See, Ran walks in and is like, "Come on, Dad, we gotta go home." And it's like, "Not so fast, Missy. He's gotta pay his bill. Maybe you can pay with your body." So Ran goes Super Saiyan, knocks all of them fucking out. One tries to shoot a gun at Ran, and she just picks the bullets out of the air and crushes them into a ball. It's just like, no. You can't mess with me. I'm a teenager who knows karate. Basically Superman in this world, yeah.
And also folds up Hanzawa's knife that he was going to stab.
It just like curls it in on itself like it's a friggin' those party things that you blow into. I can't
yes,
name
as she says, I've seen quite enough of those.
And she's asking them all to stand down and saying, "I don't want to become a murderer," kind of thing. She's like, "I could kill you all with like that," but she's not gonna. She's just gonna mess up their fucking day.
Stop murders happening.
Then does he run into his friends or does he go back home at the end?
He runs home basically after being freed by a superpowered teenager, and they're having a birthday party. They're always partying at this
fun house. Sure.
Yeah. And that's when he realizes that they're like, "Ah, fuck, that sucks, man. Did your car get scanned as well, skimmed as well?" And he checks his balance and he's like, "Oh yeah, fuck. If I want to do the murder now, I'm going to need to pay my rent and buy groceries. So I need to get a job before I can do a murder."
Before he gets to that, though, his first instinct is to go and murder everybody who has scammed him in this episode. And then he realizes that he can't afford to do any more murdering. Because he's particularly upset.
Life in the big city, you know?
Yeah, he's particularly upset that they took the money in the envelope that his mum gave him that he was planning on using to return home after he'd committed his murder.
Yeah, I was only going to spend that money just to come back to you, man, kind of thing, you know, which it was like, oh, that was a beautiful moment, but, you know, ruined by all the crime in Vega Town. Those people on the train in the first episode were right. You don't want to get off at this place.
Things were so much simpler back home. You could just just kill a motherfucker if you looked at you wrong, you know. It was just like so much more straightforward. In this big city, it's just too much happening.
Yeah.
Wow. Can we all just kill each other and get along?
Then we got me and Roboco from goodness knows how long ago, episode 8, Gorilla and Roboco, in which we meet Gorilla's family, but not before we get some more. First seems bullying, and then very much heartfelt, warm-hearted messages from Gorilla.
Hey, what you reading? Nice comic there. Oh yeah, you've been reading something like this. Something like a kid like you reading something like this. It's like the deluxe premium edition with all the author's notes and bonus pages inside them. Oh, thanks, dude.
Because if we're friends, welcome. I guess this is mine as well. Here, you take my special edition coffee, you piece of shit. You know, just like thank you, Gorilla. That's really sweet of you.
Yeah, the fan subbers call it Jerk Man. I think in the official translation in the manga, it's Yo Crap Man is the name of the comic.
Yes.
It's much more childish. Yeah.
Crap Man. I love that dude.
And Gorilla's family, they all love him because he's the best. He's just super sound out. Like, how can you not love him?
Yeah, they live at an animal hospital. There's 2 little brothers and 2 little sisters, one of
Hmm.
which will be more important than all the others, and that is Ruri, who we can tell by the fact that she's got a berry on her head, is a would-be manga artist.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Also, the rest of the children just looked like Gorilla Gachi again.
His older sister takes after the mother, and the rest of them look like Gorilla Gachi. So I assume the dad is a gorilla. We haven't seen yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we
Presumably
still
the
don't
rest
think
take
we've
after
seen
the
it 2 years later in the comic. Yeah.
No, it's not important.
We got the mum who is a mystery age. She
Hmm.
looks more like an adult woman than Bondo's mother does. But yeah, she's reprogrammed her nurse order maid. It's become bloodthirsty.
Hey, Gorilla, can you help me out with the order, mate? I've accidentally programmed it for evil again. And it's just like, yeah, no problem, Mom. Also, you're looking beautiful and young. You won't win me over with compliments, young man. Here, have this big bag of sweets that I have on hand to give to you at all times. Because you're such a good boy. And even if he's looking forward to Crapman's fucking movie, the new movie is out, but he's gonna work at the fucking veterinary clinic just overtime, even though he's leaving his best friends out.
This might be a chance for Roboco to do something cool. And it's like, no, you just can't do anything without me, can you? Ooh, I might be able to, just sub in for you here, so you can go with the last year's film. Maybe I could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he catches the film. The film was terrible, but even a terrible film with friends is quite fun. So, everything works out great.
Now, do you guys remember what the film is in the comic?
The film is the adaptation of the parody of the parody of
Promised Neverland one.
Promised Neverland, that the author's original
yes
thing that they got into Shonen Jump for. Yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
Because I was like, I want to see the live action adaptation of the parody of Promised Neverland. Sure, why not?
Yeah, because I think this was around the time the live action Promised Neverland was coming out in the cinema.
Yeah. So this is the thing I was thinking. Like the comic is fairly up to date on things that are happening in and around Shonen Jump, and like you said, the movies and stuff. So I was like, they're gonna have to change their references to something more modern. In this one, they just made it like Crapman. I was like, that's fine too. Yeah, that works.
Did this one end on the gag? I'm looking at the comic now. Next is this old man who looks exactly like a dog. Was that the final joke in the anime? I don't think it was.
No, I don't. I think it was the fact that the film sucked.
Yeah,
was the joke at the end. But yeah, so they're subbing out some jokes.
Yeah, I just don't think they've got time for all the jokes.
They got to cram them in there. Yeah.
Then we're on to actual things that aired this week. Welcome to Demon Skull Iruma-kun, Season 3, Episode 21, Words for My Friends. In the first half, Bachiko is having tea with Grandad, and she's getting all nervous because of the crush that she's got on him. We flash back as to where that crush has come from, because she was a little girl. He gave her the bow that she wears. But then, he like compliments her that she's almost as powerful, or she's as powerful as the 13 heroes. And she's like, oh, no, I could definitely not as powerful as well, except for that one, the one I hate, this is the first time it's been
we have a rivalry / friendship. Like, it's kind of thing of, you're a piece of shit with your stupid maid costume. You're a piece of shit with your stupid eating sweets like a child. It's like, all right, let's win this karaoke battle. I'm going to fucking kick your ass in karaoke. It's like, if you guys were enemies, you wouldn't be going to karaoke together.
Yeah, and also this is not necessarily a thing which has happened, because this is as she's doing, as we're getting
this scenario builds in her head. Yeah.
Because we're getting like a pan across all the members of the 13 heroes, and then it stops at Paimon, and then she leans out of this static pan across and starts having an argument with Bachiko.
So, no,
I can't even picture this person without having an argument with them. Is basically her problem. Yeah.
And he explains that powerful demons are going missing, and they suspect this particular group. And she's like, "Okay, I know what you've called me here for. You want to hunt them down? I'll bring out my most powerful bow, which is covered in decorations." Um, and he's like, "No, no, 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 no. I want you to carry on teaching Iruma and keep an eye on him because we got to protect the children from the dangerous devils. And also, I've got a very important thing to tell you, especially to protect Iruma because he's a human."
But their conversation also goes the whole thing of initially it's just like, I'm having a nice tea party with you. Thank you for helping out my grandson. And then it is like, all right, serious.
I now down to business.
And she's like bends down on one knee. It's like, my lord, you need me to kill the enemy. And it's just like, no, fucking Jesus.
Yes. Well, because he's instigated a spell beforehand, so what they're saying between each other can't be overheard by anybody using spells.
Which is why she assumes he's going to tell her to assassinate a bunch of evildoers. It's like, no, just take care of my grandson who's a human. And she's like, yeah, a human. Sorry.
But then she realizes it's because he's a human is why that's the one people that she's liked, and therefore it doesn't matter that he's a human.
He can concentrate on something for longer than 5 goddamn fucking minutes. Okay, all right. I see the advantage of being human. I don't care as long as he learns the shit I teach him, and doesn't reveal to his grandpa that I use him as an errand boy. That might get me in a bit of trouble.
And then he immediately starts behaving like an errand boy to her. Yeah, and then the second part is Iruma going to see, they're going to round Alice's house this time. It's Iruma and Clara. And yeah, they check it out. Clara decides to investigate every single room she possibly can. Captain of the charge.
Come down with me
style. / excited child, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, too much come down with me was the fun invite people over for dinner and then while making the dinner, do I fuck off and start rooting around in their drawers? A bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, but nothing she can do will mess with Alice because it's like, I'm fucking rank 4, motherfucker. What are you gonna do, man? I'm above you. I'm better than you. This is what it was like when you were at me the last time. It's great. It's she's being exceptionally childish. And he's like, no, I'm above all that. And he's being equally as childish back because he's of a higher grade, basically.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, they're losing a video game. Iruma needs to go to the loo. And then as he's into the loo, he starts pondering, like, they are my best friends. Should I tell them that I'm a human? And as he's pondering this and sort of mistakenly verbalizing, stop verbalizing things, Iruma, it's going to get you into trouble. He's interrupted by Alice's mum.
I assume Iruma's been alone for too many years where he doesn't have an internal monologue or something. He just says it out loud.
Possibly.
Fortunately, he didn't say this time, I think, that he was a human for everyone to fucking
What's
overhear.
this? Saucy secrets? Do tell.
But yeah, she has helpful advice. Is like, it's basically, if it's going to hurt you to reveal your secret to your friends, you got to consider yourself and not just your friends' feelings. So wait till a time when you feel like you can tell them and it won't hurt you, is essentially. And in the meantime, I'm going to dress you up in my son's clothes because you'll fit them. That he's too tall to wear anymore.
Well, no, this is so dignified. Please.
But Iruma has the city's friends on. I got something very serious to say to you guys. And they're all like, "Oh fuck, serious thing." And you're like, "Oh, is he going to tell him anyway?" And he's like, I just want to thank you guys for like being my friends. It means a lot to me, like very sincerely." And they're like, "Oh fuck." Thank you. They're both very like. He tells him a thing that he means to tell him. Is like, "Thank you for helping me there. Thank you for helping me there in the Harvest Festival," because they both helped him, and they mean a lot to him. It's just like, I don't want to leave this shit unsaid. And I was like, that is more important than telling the secret that you're a human, that you're genuinely affectionate for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how ambiguous it is of like, does the mum know that he's human, or is it just really good advice anyway? Because it's like, clearly if Baal's suspected, you've got to suspect that other people on the 13 heroes might also suspect.
Would cop on to something like that. Yeah.
She seems like a heartbreaker, that one. You know, he's probably got a couple of secrets. He probably just, knows some experience. This kind of things, you don't want to let slip out to the wrong person. You gotta have some little things you keep to yourself.
But it's also the thing of, as with a lot of guys in Iruma, while she may be super competent, she's a fucking goober. So it's difficult to go like his grandpa's like, "I'm the most powerful demon." It's like, "Oh, my grandson is so cute and I love him." It's just like, all right. So she's more concerned with dressing Iruma up than revealing anything about humanity
Yes,
or
because
lack
she
thereof.
knows, but not dressing Iruma up because she knows it will embarrass her son.
Yeah. Also, he looks great in these outfits.
He says she's gotten to the age now. He doesn't have time for his mother anymore, so I gotta get his attention any way I can. His friends seem to like me.
And then the end credits is the Skull song and some flashbacks throughout the series. And then after it, it's like, we're back in class. We've got a plan how we're going to tackle the music festival. We've got to get Sis. She's at the lowest rank, so we've got to focus on her to get up to 4. The other 3 they need to make sure they
need
get
to go
up
up
to
1
4 as
rank,
well.
where she needs to go up 2 ranks, which is a bit more difficult. And...
No, you gotta do it for everybody. But this is everybody. No. You forgot him. What? Ah!
Yes, because Iruma's like, I'm sure there's something
he's in the middle of the fucking group. Yeah. Like, he's not even like sitting to the side or anything. He's right fucking there the whole goddamn time.
Yes. Yeah. Caligo points out person, and then the narrator's like, who is this guy? What's he been doing? Here's a quick reminder of when we've seen him before. Find out next time.
Yeah. Good shit.
And then there's like a painting of the entire gang putting on a musical. So you're like, oh, we know this show already puts in songs which weren't there in the first place. What's it going to do for when there's actually songs involved?
When there's supposed to be music, yeah.
There was no like the Valak family like cabaret review this time, so they've got more harder now this time, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, they're probably saving it up for the musical numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, because we just had Clara doing her song, didn't we? Which gets brought up again in this episode when she teases Alice. It's like, I got to play with Chibi Iruma. It's a Chibi Iruma? Who is wearing
such
this
a beautiful thing could not exist. Bring it to me. Yeah.
Then we got TRIGUN Stampede, episode 9, Million Knives.
Yeah, so we do get the other side of that little flashback there. Or at the same time that Bash has been taken in by the crash colonists. Not even taken in, he was actually futzing about with some other people. There seems to be this doctor who kind of gets where he's coming from about and going, no, man, we gotta take care of the plants. We gotta fucking, mine after him. He's kind of been occupied with that, but they've ran them down to the very, very last one. No, this was one last bit of juice. To get the last bit of juice out of them to empower the city, and that's
they basically they're letting them go raid and die, and it's like, if you let them do that, you get every bit of juice out of them. Look, they dissolve into fucking like dust and shit, and it's like, and then we'll just get more, and we'll use up all those because we need to rebuild the society since we crashed on this planet. Yeah.
And in Vox Bash, then this is a midst of him about to his phone saying, Bash, I'm glad you're here to see this, as he starts sprouting knives and blades out of his bite and starts cutting up all the dudes.
A bit more Wolverine-y than I can make a million knives fly around me yet, but it's those guards certainly aren't coming back up from that. Bash is like, hey, stop killing them. And it's like, well, they're killing us. They're killing plants because they feel like it. So, and you came here not because you were looking for me, but you felt all the plants die, so you know how fucking fucked up all these humans are. We gotta kill all humans.
Just gonna keep using us, they're going like say all these sweet things in here. What about Rem? What about Rem? Fun. She was the spidest, for fascinated that we even existed. We could be kind of born on that. That's probably all it was. She wasn't actually a real man. Fuck up, Please, it's dice will fun shit. Fucking Bash, they're fun. Too soft, you're much more like them, you've been among them too long. Here, a gun like you, one massive fucking 2 foot long.
Not as big
revolver.
as the gun he'd have later, but it's still a big fucking revolver looking thing. And he's like, here, this will do you well. Now that this person's coming here and saying, I'm gonna take you home, Vash is like, another human trying to convince you that she cares about you and that kind of thing. Here, take this gun and shoot her. And Vash is like, fucking no, why would I? No. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, he's gonna find just kind of throw in with them because you just gotta say no, this doesn't need to can't be this absolute extreme. It can't be just us or them. It must be a way for us to kind of get along together must be some kind of way in between. You know, why does anybody have to get killed? Just say you're not going to kill anybody. Because he obviously feels responsible for being complicit with crashing spaces. You know, there's all that death like is on his hands. He feels anyway.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't want to be. Does not want to be like willfully roped into anything like that again. So he's like going on with this. His arms starts wigging out.
He starts wrestling with his brother. His brother's like, all right, if you won't kill her, I'll kill her. He's like, no, fucking don't though. And his arm seems to turn into a singularity, I'm gonna say, or a wormhole or something.
Yeah, I think the plants themselves, at least in this reading anyway, maybe it was the way they can kind of get access and add a dimension of infinite energy.
They mention that when they're talking about using up the last of them, it's like, yeah, or maybe it's Knives says something about that because Vash is saying is like they can't live in this dimension or something like that. They mentioned something about dimensions, all right. So Vash seems to have access to that.
Well, I guess as a plant, that's what he does. Yeah.
Yeah. But in this case, like
it's making
it like I say, a portal or singularity because it's sucking in the corpses of those guys Knives killed earlier. Just anything not tied down, basically. Knives is kind of like, fuck, chop his arm off. It's like, there we go. Right, I'm going to leave and do my evil plans. Vash, don't do anything I didn't. And Vash is like already.
Remember what I told you. Remember what I told you. You'll see. You'll see.
Yeah.
It'll cost you a lot more than your arm next time. And we're back in because after the whole Sandstreamer thing, they apparently one crashed up or wound up anyway at this original colony crash site.
Yeah, they're in a spaceship that's disguised by a storm, like a sandstorm around it, basically. But we have, what's your man's name? Fixing up Vash's arm. He's like, did you break that fucking robot arm we gave you again?
There was Brad and Luida, and
they're looking great for 150. You got to give them that.
Older than that, so like I was wondering if you'd seen them or not, but I thought, oh, they do have like the cryo sleep pods, the body was coming in and out of that. Like, and that is what they've been doing because they need to be able like to run this place for as long as possible to get it to a state where it can sustain itself. And we've made a start already. And whoops, not on this microphone. We got like some actual like you think they are called like it's called vegetation. You know, using much of it on this arid world. No, we've got none to eat, but like sandworms and sandworms like products and derivatives thereof.
We have the older one kind of showing Meryl their garden they've kind of built, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" It's like, all right, so this isn't humans or worms. This is called plants. Not those kind of plants. Like it's similar because they use photosynthesis, but it's a different kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that essentially want to have this all over the entire planet, and it's just like, I don't trust you, says Roberto. It's just. Seems like it's too good to be true, and how long this is going to take? Is it going to take for decades, fucking centuries, millennia? I mean, like, how long people down here can't wait that long? You know, we got to fucking use what we got and scrape by what we got. Fun. Come on, Meryl, we're getting out of here. I'm going for a cigarette. Fun saying, you call me Meryl. Hey.
No, I didn't.
I'm getting under your skin. Fun saying, please, sir, no smoking on the ship. Fun, what? But all right.
Yeah. And
in the midst of this, then fucking they all get got
yes
and brought below because it's easy the beast breaks in with a swarm of sandworms, or the sandworm flies anyway, and then takes them all down, which is what rouses kind of Vash and Wolf forward with Brad in the med bay was getting his arm tuned up. It's just fucking. I gotta ask you, Vash. I gotta ask you, Spiky. Is that like it's gonna come down to you or him one of these days? You're gonna have to kill to uphold your ideals. You know, like why you this way? Fun. Brad's just like saying, well, you think you got the world figured out, but like that isn't that straightforward. Because remember, Wolfwood is basically at best a teenager in a grown man's body. So these two.
Brad is kind of pointing out is like, yeah, I was brash and thought that it's like it's only black and white and that kind of shit. When I was just like you, Wolfwood, but I was young. When I was a young man, I know I'm a slightly older looking man, but still with a sweet pompadour. But, I'm wiser to this shit. And also, Vash is tougher than you give him credit for.
Yeah. It's just like, Yeah, maybe it might come down to this or that, but it's like, why do you have to decide it's got to be that right now? I think that's kind of where we see trying more to come from, rather than kind of stick from it. Just and saying, I understand there's something that might happen, but does it have to go down that way, just that way? We got to decide it right now and stick to it. Something that hasn't even happened yet. That's what we're trying to kind of keep it. Because again, that's why by being alive for a long time, you got this kind of broader view of things.
Adapt slowly rather than like make wild decisions before you're even fucking in the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of what Roberto was saying was kind of like the big problem is that this like nascent society has is that's what I'm saying. We understand that it'll take a long time. However, the environment is so hostile that we have to like use every solution is at hand as
we get
violent or dangerous as it might be. Yeah.
We get another point of view from ZZ the Beast, who's informing Roberto and Meryl after capturing them. It's like, yeah, so you humans are like real fuck ups. I'm deciding whether I should side with the humans or the plants, because like I'm bugs. I'm from here. I'm worms. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, because we get a second chance. It's like, well, you fucked up your own fucking planet. Like, that's why you were on a colony ship, because you fucked up your world so bad, like, you had to move to a different fucking place. And I'm deciding which side to pick. I'll see.
What might happen, yeah. It's interesting, too, to see that, like, I think the bald-headed doctor with the beard, the very fucking Walter White-looking dude going around, I believe he's the same doctor that was hacking him with knives there all that time ago. So, like, I guess he's been using the crisis pod as well. But it's kind of cool to see this, like, just things do happen. So we kind of use those and kind of... I kind of like how he's just changed so much as well, like, but it's still like has and that's just kind of left that point and say, okay, maybe humans or plants, let's toss a coin. Planet No Man's Land tosses a coin.
And who actually should we be? And again, it's asking the characters, but also the viewers, like, who should we be rooting for in this situation, kind of thing. It's like, yeah, the humans are using the plants, but like, kill all humans, it's also bad. And also humans aren't from here, so do they deserve to live here? That kind of thing. Puts up a bunch of good questions. Again, another great looking episode, but even for one that's a lot of talking.
Then it is Inspector, episode 21, The Silenced Children.
Yeah.
Speaking of lots of talking.
Yeah. Well, we'll just kind of get this one down, because, like, okay, here's this layout again. Why you're here? There's a guy like come up with the most plausible explanation for why and how your dad killed your mom, or killed this lady. I'm gonna step out of the room and they're gonna let you kind of talk it over for a second about there and say, yeah, we totally formed an alliance. Like, and just come on, get out of this all together. So, like, who wants what? Who wants what? You want to stay run the company? I'll stay run the company. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, no problem.
But she does also put it in the point of view of, listen, I don't even fucking want to be here. I want to have sex with my boyfriend, hot, steamy sex in this fucking sweet hotel. We're gonna fuck in the bathtub, and he's like, shut the fuck up right now. He's my bodyguard. He's so hot, and all right, we're gonna leave. Give you time to figure it out. And they're all basically like, yeah, so we'll all collaborate. We're like, what do we want? Like, obviously, we're gonna give our it's their niece is there. Because it's both of their niece. So we're going to give you a cut. Look, we're not going to leave you fucking out of it. I want to run the company, so I want the bits of that let me run the company. I'm not going to fucking leave my sister hanging as well. Like, obviously, you, her husband, we're going to make sure you get plenty as well. We'll just work out what we want between us, and we'll figure it out. And it was like, well, I'm glad we resolved that so easily.
That was quick.
I thought that was the part where we were going to be fighting over, but no, that was actually the easiest part.
Bring her back in, okay, and see. All right, so we come to an agreement, we'll just, like, just kind of do it this way, and all before a while. So that isn't the assignment, unfortunately, because you have to rule out, and that's becomes positive, which includes explaining, any of your possible motives or alibis or anything like that.
Because one of the weird things about the whole situation is that all of you and the fucking president had an alibi for that situation. Isn't that fucking weird? Like,
perfect alibi.
It's almost like the person who killed her made sure that everyone would have alibis, so everyone would get off scot-free. And they're like, the fuck are you talking about? Fuck, you got us.
Or maybe they had alibis because they're planning to kill her themselves. So hands up, who is planning to kill her? Yeah,
everybody.
Here's how I did it, yeah.
The young guy, the younger brother, and the older brother like they basically went together as like, all right, so I don't want to run the company, and I do want to run the company, right? So let's pretend to fight about who's going to run the company, like actually like beat the shit out of each other in the middle of the office in front of everyone. So they'll be like, oh, there's no way those guys are working together, and then we'll have a pretend fight in a boardroom, and everyone's like, I'm staying the fuck out of there, and one of us will sneak out, kill the mother on her way back from her spa where she was killed, and everyone knows she's on her own walking at night in that situation. And then we'll be each other's alibi, and everyone will hear us arguing, like one of us will be on a tape recording going like, fuck you, brother, that kind of shit. But while they're having this punch up to establish this lack of an alliance, because they don't get on, like the younger brother keeps saying, I don't get on with my older brother. That's why there was
Sirs, your mother has been killed. Wait, what?
What? As they're like punching each other, and it's just like, yeah, well, I guess we got off with that. And then she kind of turns to your man and is like, what about you, guy who married in? Because like obviously your wife broke her tibia or something like that. And you broke her leg.
Yeah, it was like
so you couldn't have done it as well because you brought her to the hospital while that was broken, and she couldn't have done it while her leg was broken and that kind of shit. And also, you were doing businesses. You were going like doing the wheel and dealing, and you were being very public about it. It's like, well, you had to be wheel and dealing, but I was doing that as a cover to murder her. So I was going to do that, and then my wife was going to pretend to break her leg, and then actually go out and do the murder, and then actually break her leg later, and we go to the hospital going like, I couldn't have done it. My leg was broken earlier, but she actually did break her leg earlier. She's like, oh, I fucked up, honey. I actually broke my leg, and she's like, fuck, I better get you to the hospital. Meantime, the mother is murdered, and they're like, that's fucking weird. And she's like, brilliant. So that's how you would have done the murder, but you didn't, and you all have alibis. Great. Now, I need you to explain to me why your dad killed her. That's the bit. That's actually the assignment we're doing. Pay attention, everyone. And yeah, it's still kind of left in it. I did like the granddaughter of the president kind of going like, you were fucking blaming us for murdering and we have all of alibis, and then she turns to her two uncles and kind of like, oh fuck yeah, we were planning on murdering her.
We did it, sorry. Yeah, we're definitely going to. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, who wouldn't kill her? It was too sweet of a deal to not do it.
So it kind of proves the president's point that these guys would have been willing to resort to murder even before he murdered her. So it's kind of like, yeah, he took that bullet for his kids, basically. It's like, I do the murder so you guys don't have to. Don't actually do any murders, even though it worked out really great for me and all of you because I did a murder.
Well, it proves the outlet suspicions right, because like, yeah. I want to like put this matter to rights, you know, or resolve it in some way, because I don't want my kids thinking that it's okay to just off people or do worse to people, like, no, to get ahead. And they've already done it. They've already learned
they
that.
They were already along the way.
You knew that at the time, so yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a kind of messed up situation, and we're still like, we haven't resolved it or anything because they have not come up with a solution. And she's explained, besides the fact that, you know, yokai are involved and that kind of shit, that it's just like, yeah, your grandpa did the murder. He just wants you to explain it. And it's like, why won't he just tell us? Because he fucking knows how he did it. And it's like, he doesn't think you believe him. He thinks you won't believe him. So you need to come up with something plausible. I'm gonna help you out. Like, that's fine. I'm just here to have sex with my boyfriend and help you out. That's it. And yeah, that's kind of where we leave it, I think. Yeah, it's a lot of reveals that don't amount to anything, but it's kind of interesting at least. Yeah.
Then we got Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 9, Oath. In which we're back into Dreamland of Thorfinn after they get into a big old brawl with those lads from the end of the last episode.
Thorfinn wakes up and it was all a beautiful dream. J.R. actually wasn't shot, and there's his dad coming over the hill. It's all
with the sheep. Oh yeah, well, I said it was in. Son, never forget who you are. You have to remember.
And then Thorfinn gets a beautiful dream of Valhalla, the thing all Vikings dream of. God, what a lovely place Valhalla must be.
But Ascalad points out, though, the Valhalla's a lot nicer than this. This is where people like us go, where we just carry on behaving as we did in life.
It's not even hell. It's just like the real world. This is just like the highest like possible concentration, exaggeration of the real world. Because it's just dudes fighting forever. That's all we do, fight forever.
You've escaped that full thing because you're empty now. You don't have to be here anymore. What are you doing dangling out of this massive crevice that you've fallen down? He's like, "Oh, but I am still one of you. Hit that man in anger. I'm still full of rage." And he's like, "Open your eyes. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Look below you." And there's like all the people he's killed crawling
Are forming
towards
like a
him.
human pyramid
Yeah.
of zombie-like corpse people, and he's just like, "Oh, get away!" And he's like, "Why are you kicking them away? Fucking listen to them, man. You fucking killed them. They deserve being heard out." And he's just looking at one of them crying through no eyeballs, eyes, and he's just like crying himself, and he's just like,
Why
"Jesus
did you
Christ,"
kill me?
that kind of thing. Yeah, and he's just like, "I am so fucked up right now."
I am out of here because I can let myself be dragged down by them, or I can just take them with me and carry that weight with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Crawl
yeah.
out of this pit. That's it, son. Go on, I'll hold them off.
He wakes up. Einar tells them they won the fight. Alexa,
I
I
did
was
like an
asking for your
opening with
input. Right, sorry, Alexa. Just
I did like an opening with Einar going like, "It's like, come on, I can go another round," and all of them going like, "Why won't he go down?" It's like, we're just gonna fucking leave. This is bullshit. And obviously Einar has collapsed while Thorfinn was having his dream or his vision or that kind of thing. But he sees Einar and is like, "Oh Jesus, Einar, you're really fucked up." It's like, we won, Thorfinn. And Thorfinn's like, "Nah,
that was the last one. That was the last one.
That's it. I'm not doing violence no more. That's my oath. Like I've killed so many people. One of the visions, like really fucked up things of Thorfinn, like being at different ages, but him as a young violent man stabbing Einar as a child. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, because he's like, "Yeah, I killed so many people just like you and your family, Einar, and I can't be violent anymore. I'm done. I'm out."
and then Kettle informs the retainers the next day that Einar and Thorfinn won't be punished because it was just a wild boar when attacked the farm and attacked
Also,
you
that
guys.
fight that happened yesterday didn't fucking happen. All right, now fuck off.
I decree a verdict of boars will be boars.
Because if something else happened, there'd be an explanation of this Coke button that Peter found.
And it couldn't have been wild boars. Must
Could
have
be
been you
anybody's
motherfuckers.
button. Could be anybody's button. Maybe it blew here on a gust of wind.
So yeah, so you guys don't get in trouble. They don't get in trouble. Everyone's fucking happy. Well, I mean, like reasonably happy. They still have to dig up the farm again, but crops can be replanted, and an old man
Yes.
can shout at you as you're doing it because you're too slow, Thorfinn. You're stiffening up your back and stuff. And I was looking at him there, and I was like, Jesus. Like I've never done proper farm stuff, but it was reminding me of sodden turf. That's fucking back killing shit, man. So I was just like, when Thorfinn was being slower, I was thinking of myself like in those situations. I was like, yeah, that fucked my back. That's hard fucking work, man.
Yeah, and then you got a little narrative reminder of Kettle thanking Peter and complimenting Peter on being such a strong man, and Peter pointing out the reason he's strong is because he was a former slave, and so it doesn't let Kettle off the hook either.
Yeah.
But it does kind of give you like, it's like these are the times, these are the people who live in the times, and as we'll see next week, those times they are changing as we get more talking dead people in next week's episode.
Yeah, this is the kind of mindsets that you probably would have encountered or may have developed, in response to these kinds of societies. And why don't they know the same as me? Because the same as you didn't exist until you were here. So
yeah.
If we can just give it a rest already.
Yeah, and and then yes, we see next week. We'll see the things a man has to do to change the times, and then that's not pretty either.
I mean, like for a lot of talking and stuff, again, it works very well, but the visuals in this are just fucking gorgeous. I think my favorite was Thorfinn falling down the crevasse into pre-Valhalla, because the flashes of color that is like when you like those flashes when you hit your head real fucking hard. I was like, that's a really nice fucking visual metaphor of that. I've hit my head too much, so I know what that looks like.
Yeah, I think also it's definitely some influence of Christian hell as well, because at this point in time, he would be aware it would be things he'd have heard. He'd have heard.
You'd be aware of punishment after the fucking fact kind of thing, but not the specific parts of it. Yeah.
So it's like the two mythologies getting mixed up, which ties into the bit in the previous episode where I was like, it doesn't matter who you pray to, you just pray to somebody, because We need all the assistance
As
we
long
can
as
get.
someone fucking answers.
There's gotta be
it's
somebody
fine.
out there, right?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, fella, do us a solid.
Make our plants grow. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, because that's the thing. I mean, it's definitely the theme from here on out. Is that there's definitely a Christian theme running through it, but it's never spoken again quite as clearly as it is in the prologue with young Canute.
It's
Uh,
interesting because it's not like examining Christianity as we understand it. It's examining Christianity as it grew to be the thing that we understand it. Like this is a long way from fucking popes and shit. We're not gonna have that kind of shit established the way we know it now for a long fucking time.
It's,
At least
it's-
not in this
yeah.
part of the world, at least.
Not in this part of the world, but I mean, like, this kind of establishes like a lot of what Christian ideology becomes for like a lot of the Western world, a lot of Europe, and then the Americas and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so it's like, like he's not exactly like an ardent churchgoer now with Thorfinn, but if you give him some time to turn over, instead he can kind of arrive to like, some of the similar conclusions that are espoused by that.
Yeah, and it'll be like the difference between the societal changes of him being aware of what a Christian hell might look like, and also like the personal thing you kind of get from religion or from absolution that can grant you. Yeah,
we had a glimpse of it in the first season as well, with the Anglo-Saxons who thought the end of the world was coming.
yeah.
Because that it's the thing of like the character who's we don't have as a character in this is the Bishop of York, who's
That would really tie it all together. Yeah.
because he's like the guy who he wrote like the sermons which made the people think that the world was ending. It was essentially basically book your ideas up because the Vikings may
Jesus
kill
is
you.
coming and he's going to be cross at you.
Well, no, it was more like, book your ideas up because the Vikings being here is a sign of your sins. But at the same time, he was like a big influence on Canute when they were staying in York in terms of speech making and things. But you still see the historical effects of that in the story.
Yeah. You
Even
don't
though
have a
that
character
person's
like
not a
literally
character.
being. Yeah, you don't have that character being the kind of convincing talking points because you're familiar with the shit of his talking points because that's what became Western
Yes.
Christianity, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, but like I say, a lot of that early religion is health and safety. It's essentially it's like you do these things because we think you stand a better chance of surviving. Whereas and that's because that's where Canute's coming from because he sees the Viking way of life as self-destructive and it takes too many lives on both sides. So it's better that he does something perceived as evil of poisoning his enemies to reduce the bloodshed.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of religion is based on that. Like the whole reason for keeping your kitchen kosher is because before we have antibacterial stuff, it's like it's smart to keep the raw meat away from the fresh vegetables. It's like clever. But then you have the things of we need to make society run a bit less chaotically, and that's the other thing where you're trying to influence like people's moral standing because they keep fucking murdering each other to get the Valhalla. This is fucking bullshit.
Well, you gotta hand it to them that did bathes a lot more regularly than other folks do. So.
That's also a good fucking habit.
So you can't say they didn't bring nothing to the table.
Right? Anyway, Canute's back next week. And as is his dead dad's head, as we see in the preview. And then High Card, episode 9, talking of royalty. By Your Side, in which we open with terrorism.
Blammo.
Against the royal family.
Damn, Trafalgar Square, or not Trafalgar Square, have having a rough day.
Prince Dylan has died, or suspected to. Well, the headline is "Falls to a Deadly Blade."
Falls to a deadly fucking.
I mean, he got in a car, and then there was that woman in the car, and then there was just blood smears in that car.
They're going to actually exploded. I think is a headline you're looking for. I suppose it isn't as snappy. So this is from the paper, isn't it?
Finn hasn't come out of his room for 2 weeks. He's depressed because he doesn't see the point in working.
My life is a lie.
The purpose of spending, the purpose of earning the money was to save the orphanage. Now the orphanage can't be saved. Plus, they told me they didn't want me to come around here anymore. There's a couple of the guys from the mob are mad at the woman for overdoing things as we meet. Get more of, well, throughout this episode, we'll get a lot more of Jasper Labira and his mate Alexander Alexson. And
them at the pub going like, well, who does she think she is? And your man's like, yeah, who does she think she is? He's just drinking milk, like, you know, so it's like,
got a plastic pint of milk.
I'm also annoyed about this situation, but I'm not drunk, importantly.
I was really liking the fucking that one detective who was tight with the Klondike family, and then the rookie for saying, so we got from terrorist bombing, multiple people able to interview. We got like calling out the airport and saying, this is like something that we should be getting close to. We're the police. Why do you stop? Why do you say every case we take?
It's like there's people with bizarre powers doing bizarre crimes across the city.
That's not our department, kid. It's just like, they're doing crimes, though. That crimes is our thing, right?
We're mostly in fraud.
Yeah, Theodore is told by the king to recover the cards as quickly as possible. And then also hanging out in the same room in the shadows is Klondike himself. And they have a bit of a back and forth. And yes,
yeah, your man kind of going, like, what the fuck are you doing here? You trying to get me in fucking trouble? He was like, don't worry, I'm just being mysterious. I'm going to walk behind you now and teleport away.
Find the lady.
Yeah, so call together Pinochle, split them up, go after all the cards we know the whereabouts of, bring them in immediately. So they're going to be sent across the different countries. So we're going to see different parts of the country now. And Chris and Finn are going to go to Polo Stick to recover the cards from Aya Tawawa, age 48. We've only got a photo of her from 12 years ago.
I got a photo of her much younger, so yeah.
Yeah, she's got the Jack of Clubs. So take Finn with you because you're a partnership, you're buddies.
You're a pair, and I was like, no,
buddies.
That's 2 and a 4. That's not a pair. What the fuck are you talking about?
So yeah, he goes to see Finn. It turns out, even though they both deny that they're a pair and buddies, they are a pair and buddies. So leaves him a chocolate bar, and then he takes the train tickets. Meanwhile, our 2 lads, Alexander and Jasper, also receive train tickets from a mysterious benefactor, who we then cut immediately to Bernard, going, well, I hope that was a bit of a risk, but I hope it works. So I assume Bernard's given them the tickets. I don't know whether he plans for them to get along or to get the cards off of them, or
I think he's fine with them getting the cards, because at least all the cards will be in one place then. It's like, oh, they have the cards that I need, that kind of fucking way.
It did mark on a note. It had like 5 of hearts and 2 of spades, so there will be on this train.
Yeah. So the 4 of them are on the train. Well, no, 3 of them are on the train because the other one's ahead of the train, ready to ambush it by dropping rocks in front of it.
All right, so you guys better give me your cards, or he's gonna drop rocks on this fucking train. And he's like, I don't fucking care. It's like, what about the people on the train? I don't fucking know them. Also, I'm gonna fucking heal from anything. What about your partner? Fuck him. And it's like, won't the rocks hit you? And he's like, shit, the rocks don't hit me. Like, he seems to have a very good power because he can turn metal into spikes, and he can turn the train into spikes. But also, he has a big metal spike which he's just waving around the place the whole time, which is very funny.
But yes, it's very comedic. Not Alex, Jasper. Alex is the quiet one who's waiting with the rocks. Jasper's got the metal one. Yeah, so they have a back and forth. Chris is just incredibly rude. He manages to get more and more information out of Jasper because he can't keep his mouth shut.
Sorry. What? My friend Alex. Your friend Alex is waiting up there. You don't get to call him Alex. You call him Mr. Alex Alexson. And it's like, so friend of Mr. Alex Alexson. That's not my name. My name is this. It's like, stop telling him everything. And he's like, you're pulling that information out of me. He's like, you're just telling me like all the information, like, and how your powers work. It's not a good idea, bro.
Guard, I'm being abused.
So yeah,
Guard, there he is.
The rocks fall down. The carriage they're on gets torn apart by Jasper's power. Finn gets kicked off the train by Chris, and then Chris basically forces Jasper to use his power to alter the train tracks.
Because he's on the train, and if the train crashes, he's going to die. So he alters the train tracks, despite how sore it is to alter a rail that you're touching underneath the train that you're hanging off. But yeah, so the train like slows because it goes to a slope rather than a into a pile of rocks. Yeah.
We see Finn washed up on the shore where he's spotted by a woman who looks like a 48 age version of the woman we saw in the photograph earlier. And she's got a big white dog. And she does not appear to be any sort of criminal or threat. So,
No.
Yeah.
But we probably know surprisingly great amount about Finn's background. Which I think is probably a little bit late in the series. Him, like, after just coming up, I think the orphanage, to kind of wash up on the shores of a strange woman lives in a log cabin in the middle of the countryside, and she'll lay out the whole.
What was her tower called? It's got something to do with home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's lyrics to a song about home or something, but I can't remember what it is.
It's probably something as well, like, like stand users, players are just drawn together by an invisible gravity.
She was educated at Cribbage University as well, we learned from her document.
Ooh. She's got a good head for numbers then.
Fantastic. Yeah, I like this episode a lot. I like these two villains. They're just they've got the same energy as our two heroes, so it was nice for them to.
Yeah, it's a good contrast or comparison, I suppose.
Yeah. I like the way they kind of take their read on this. Partners in a cop show is usually like to kind of what they're trying to evoke when they say you two are buddies. Like, no, as in, like, your partners, your partners, like, on the force partners in this team, when you got each other's backs, you're up high or low, like, anything in between, So, let's say if your orphanage is burned down or your little sister is in the hospice ward, you're there for each other, all right? When you're sharing a Sunday down the pub, next to work, you're there together for each other.
You start holding hands for days on end.
Because, hey, man, we're all on the same deck together, We're happy to get shuffled in and dealt out in the same hand. Card for the force.
Yeah, I definitely get the feeling that Theodore wants the cards for himself and not for the royal family, though. From the just from like the framing of him when the kings say they must be returned to the royal family, because whenever they get out, they cause these sort of problems. So this is a recurrent thing in history. These sort of
people keep breaking out these superpower cards and then using them to benefit themselves. We gotta fucking get these cards back. So
if the cards are involved, it should really be kept in a proper sleeved binder and put them in
get them slapped. Get them slapped.
This is your nest egg,
Graded. Then we've got The Vampire Dies in No Time, Season 2, Episode 9, Utopia BBOLAND, Dad and the Suspicious Person, and hello, how are you? Are you free?
Ooh.
So the Bubo, the son of the convenience store owner, he has fallen asleep. Can you take a look at him? There is a...
here's a problem.
Yes, a
I
parasitic
do like the
green
solid
vampire.
opener in this one where he's dancing and singing to the fucking weird eyeball thing, which is embarrassed by this, and the manager comes in and is like, I wasn't singing at the eyeball thing. What seems to be the problem? My son's in a coma dream with like a weird vampire bug at the back of his neck. And Dralka's like, oh, I thought those were extinct because people are sleeping less and less these days.
Yes, I like that.
You've seen Shin Yokohama. Everyone's up all fucking night, every night. Like, yeah.
It's a party town, man. That's just the way it goes. So, go into his dream. So, it's the guy kind of fall asleep next to him and go in there and fight the vampire off and get him out of the dream.
Yeah, so the three of them.
The dream sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's drawn the dream very sketchily, except for the women who are incredibly detailed.
They're mostly more detailed on the chests than they actually are. Even in this horny fucking show, which
it's
is
just
funny.
like Ronaldo is like crayon drawing. Fucking Dralka is just a puddle of grey goo. So well, that's why normally say, "Oh, not John. John is pretty drawn as well. Let's look at someone's dick." Don't treat John that way. Whatever John ever done to you, he's always been there for you.
So they meet him in the street, coming down a badly drawn elephant filled with buxom women. And he's like, they're like, hey, you're trapped in a dream. And he's like, I was wondering why I could just summon whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And they're just like, that didn't make you think at all. It's like, no, not really. It's like, so we're gonna get you out of here. And he's like, no, this is better. It's like, well, what about if you have to go to the bathroom? It's like, I'll just shit myself. I don't fucking care. This is better.
Not made. If you die in a dream, you die in real life. I'll go on happy then. Well, I'm getting sick of you. Kind of fun to take care of you for real now. Funny, this fake, obviously superpowered. You can't take him on. I'm gonna summon my super amazing, gorgeous girlfriend Amazon with the big sword and the big tits and the golden hair, and he's gonna do this fun saying, "You're dead," and she's got my dad's face. Oh my god!
It's like, now that's stuck in your head. That's what you humans are. You get a thought stuck in your head, and then everything starts turning into his dad. And he has to wake up from this nightmare, and he wakes up to his dad going like, my son, and it's just like whack, punches out his own dad because the nightmare is real now.
And now he'll never sleep again. Problem solved.
Easy peasy.
Hope the vampires hassling him anymore.
And Dad's and the suspicious person is the guild master runs in to the rock paper scissors Yakien. That's it.
Yakuken. Sorry.
Yes. Shigeruchi. It's another episode where Shigeruchi was going to be panicking throughout the episode. That prevents him from challenging a woman to a strip rock paper scissors. Ties him up, and he's like, "Okay, well, I'll call the vampire control, get him taken in." And the scientist refuses to do it immediately because he's sick of this guy coming around taking advantage of him. Because he just uses the vampire control center as a place to sleep at night and get food.
Free room and board and food.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, yeah, like I'm fine with that. And he's like, but I can't let him know that I tried to strip his daughter using my hypnosis powers. I failed, but the fact that I did it means he'll probably murder me. So I'm just going to keep that bit on the low down.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So first of all, he manages to briefly escape by challenging him using his feet to.
And failing, but like that means he gets to take off something, which is the ropes that he's tied up with.
Yes.
I'm going to take off those ropes by the rules of my hypnosis.
Yes, he flees, but then they see the daughter being harassed by the strip mahjong vampires.
That's sick. Hey, but hey, buddy, Dad, I'm going to help you out right here because it's a matter of your daughter's honor. Also, just fucking stealing my bit, so I can't let this slide.
I like the fact that it's generally the same 5 or 6 vampires we keep seeing being the problem in this fucking town. But these new guys try the old tricks, but like they're done up like Fist of the North Star goons. So the leathers, the spikes, the themed helmets, that kind of thing. But one of them is carrying a mahjong table, and they have little giant mahjong tiles on their hats. Where it's like, come on, we'll play mahjong. We'll teach you the rules if you don't know how. Like,
and if we lose, we'll take our clothes off.
Yeah, we don't mind. We just like playing mahjong and taking clothes off. That's our whole thing.
Well, mahjong's a 4-player game, so 2 of you are going to be redundant to this. So what do you do when this is not happening, lads?
The other guys want to take their clothes off as well. They just want to play mahjong, and slowly people to reveal more of themselves. They're not even wearing much clothes. They're wearing leathers and shit. But obviously your man sees these ruffians hassling his daughter, and lets him have it. But also your man's just like, I can't have them stealing my bit. Back to back, and they fight using a combination of giant hammer and taking off people's clothes, and while they're taking off their clothes, punching them. Yes. Which is a bit cheap, but
and using his dome as well, because he's got that dome ability, so you can't interfere in the
you have to get involved in the Janken game if you want
to. They intentionally throw it through a draw, so then it just undoes just in time for them to punch out again. It's like, they're perfect offense-defense combination. It can't be defeated.
Yes, so he's very happy. They apologize. They won't do it again, and then he realizes, oh shit, the daughter's still here. She's going to give it away. I've got to indicate to her that don't let your dad know that we played strip rock paper scissors together.
And he gets this across to her by just staring at her while thinking, it's like, don't fucking tell your dad, he will kill me.
Making this motion.
And making like what it looks to be a masturbating gesture, but it is like, I guess it looks like
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
It's like, don't tell him about that. And she's like,
I get you.
Who's this weird guy you're with, Dad? While she's also making the same gesture back at him. It's like, she fucking got it. Fucking brilliant. I'm saved.
Everything all worked out nicely then until the sting bikini vampire's like, hey bros, what are you doing hanging out with that girl you played strip fucking rock paper scissors before? Come on, let's go home. And then He gets put in the hospital, but she felt bad. She bought him some food the next day. And,
Made them feel bad. So yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good thing he's already in hospital, man.
Did we know before that the vampire with the invisible lower
No.
legs was also a brother? Okay, I
Maybe
wasn't sure about that.
maybe it's brother in the sense that he's anarchy and he's just like, you know.
No, they
he's
live together, like in a
Yeah.
house. I assume they're all brothers.
Yes, and I think we may meet their father at some point down the line.
Oh, that's good. Right, so we got one guy who likes taking other people's clothes off, but also technically his own clothes. We've got one guy who absolutely loves taking all of his clothes off except for string bikinis and doing that to other people. And we've got one guy with invisible lower legs, which is kind of like having your pants off, I guess.
He
But that
took the
covers-
photos. He took the photos afterwards, you know, because you can.
That's true. Yeah. Different
Yeah.
variations on nudity. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there's like an early chapter in the manga which introduces the concept of elder vampires, and they haven't dealt with that yet. And I think when we get to that, that will eventually like introduce more parents of the vampires we've met already.
Well,
Parents are always fun. Yeah.
well, wouldn't Granddad be an elder?
Yes,
vampire?
Granddad
Yeah.
will be in there as well. Yes.
Everyone's terrified of him because like he's an old vampire, and that means very powerful vampire. But he's mad as a bag of hammers, so it's like, I mean, that's dangerous.
He
in its
just
own
wants to
way.
play some games, man. He just wants to fucking just like, you know, like engage in a game of wits or skill or chance or luck.
Yes.
Ronaldo's on the way back to the office, and he's getting a text from Dralk, or was it a message saying, "It's like if he fucking talks to you, don't fucking say you're busy, don't say you're free." And Ronaldo's like, "Well,
This is some real vampire shit right
I
here.
took care of the vampire. I got nothing to do for the evening." It's like, don't fucking tell me you have nothing to do. Don't say it. You're free. And Grandpa's sitting in the office like, "Hey, are you free? You want to play some like touch football? You want to try this thing?"
Monopoly.
He keeps suggesting
What about a
things.
fun run? I'll go for a bungee jump. Anybody? Anybody?
And so,
Anybody want to go? I'm buying.
The episode is them trying to prevent anybody from saying that they're free to the granddad.
Yeah, it's Ronaldo, Dralk, and Dralk's dad. Wait, does Dralk's dad have a name besides Dralk's
He
dad?
does have a name, but keep forgetting it. So
Anyway,
Well,
he
like,
keeps
obviously
forgetting
Dralk's dad was.
Ronaldo's name and keeps calling him Paul this episode, so that's fine too. It's fine for me to forget his name. So they're following the granddad around and telling people, "Don't say you're free" behind the granddad because they can't stop him. He's too powerful.
It was fun to go down to Guild pub and up on Satetsu was just like, no, not Satetsu. He's going to fun uniform and say, you want to like go something nice to eat? It's like, what kind of food? It's like,
I think the thing that attracts him is just like it's like, do you want to make a really big takoyaki ball? And it's like, tell me more. how do we do this? Yeah, it was just like, I'm interested. It's like, no. We gotta convince him that we have shit to do. Obviously, your man wanders in, sensing a powerful vampire.
Yeah.
And it's just like, "Are you free?" And it's like, I had nothing planned for the evening except
my mother's baptist. I can't lie.
We're starting a band. That's what's
Yes.
happening.
Yeah,
because
let's hear it.
an improvised band.
Yes. Yeah, because there's a bit where he says, Niall said, there's a bit where he says, my mum told me not to lie, and then someone does an impression of his mother telling him it was okay to lie in this.
Oh, it's okay to lie, son. Yeah,
He's already gone. No, that poor child. Hey, you want to go and like, you know, ride 1,000 miles on a scooter for insane? Yeah, man, that sounds pretty good actually. What are you doing? Hey, man, you're an 8-year-old. That sounds like a pretty fun time. Fun to ride around a scooter for 100 miles. That's fantastic fun. We're out of here. Shades up.
Yeah, because he's like, people like me who live the scooter life, it's what we dream of.
You wouldn't understand.
But then Loon Talk Vampire shows up. The one vampire who we know is an absolute scumbag from top to
and
bottom.
has lots of free time.
And yeah, they ask him if he's got any free time. Dralk does, and he goes, "Yes, I got plenty of free time." And then he's immediately pounced on by the granddad and carried off.
Like literally pounced on. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we've all dealt with that, easy peasy. But I wonder why Granddad was here to begin with. You know, he only wants to hang around with people he misses. His human friend who died so long ago. So his playful, attitude hides a very deep sadness in the hell.
Yes, I was.
Van Helsing beat him as the Dracula by just being a mate, like, you know.
There is a Van Helsing character who has not been introduced yet, so I suspect that might be coming next episode.
Excellent, excellent. They do call him D in this one as well, which is
Yes.
kind of like the Dracula kind of thing. So
I
yeah.
thought Helsing, he played a mean game of Mario Kart, so he did. Miss him.
And then also my favorite bit of this episode is when him facing off against the guild manager. And then him slightly going, mustache friends. Double mustache friends.
Putting on a fake mustache over his mustache, and the guild manager's like,
He's cracking.
like,
He's cracking.
no, he's also a dad, so he loves dad jokes.
Mustache friend.
There's lots of good moments like that where it's just like he's getting right up in the grill. It's like, come on, let's play. I'm a friendly old man. You can't say no.
Hige friend. Double hige friend.
But yeah, Joji Nagata just rolling those lines across his tongue is so fantastic.
Yeah.
It's all his free time now. The Golden Kamuy was put on hold, so he's just regular like wallow on all of this.
What's up next on the list? Let me. Oh, it's the thing I struggled to watch because it kept on freezing on me. Oh, suddenly Egyptian Gods, season 2, episode 9. Suddenly a winter episode. I got as far as them sitting around a fire and the title coming up, so I could put it in the thing.
That's most of it. You got most of it.
Pretty much all they did, you know.
Yeah.
And because Medja has been staring for so long, oh, the I-beam's about to go off. Let's just bring him to a safe distance.
Yeah, he keeps. They're all staring at the fire, and his I-beams keep charging up from staring at a fire. And also, they spend so long staring at a fire at the start that the narrator is like, "Hey, this is an animation. You guys are going to need to move at some point rather than just staring at the fire."
Very, very sorry. Just staring at the fire is kind of not like really relaxes the mind. So it's we're all getting into it, you know, like.
They roast marshmallows. They explain how to make s'mores. They do say graham crackers. I think our equivalent of that is digestive biscuits, isn't it? That's the closest thing.
I've never certain.
Not me neither. I know I use that as a base for like cheesecake more than graham crackers, but like I was like, is it an equivalent? I don't fucking know.
And also, of course, there's it's graham crackers. We should be calling it.
I'm pronouncing it Americanly. Yeah.
Graham Norton.
Graham Norton.
Yeah, those don't really look like anything like digestive biscuits. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, you know how to make them. It's pretty easy.
I'd like to suppose you use a little ice cream wafers as well. You could use those too.
Yeah, you can use those.
Fascinating stuff in the Egyptian gods.
Again,
there's so much. Their culture, so much to teach us. Some, you know.
It's barely a winter episode, but I mean, like, it was kind of nice because the weather's gotten kind of shit, and I was just like, yeah, it would be nice if we could all sit around the campfire, but it is too fucking cold out.
Hats off to whoever has been writing this Wikipedia page, though. On the uses, the first line is, despite the intention of their creator, graham crackers have yet to be shown to curb the urge to masturbate. And then citation needed after that.
I mean, you can say the same about cornflakes, so yeah, that's fair.
Yes, yeah, it's from around the same time. Yeah, I guess I can see why. Yeah, there may be some similarity to digestive biscuits because the photo is like, here's a homemade cracker crust that people have made. Anyway, who knows? They're unnatural foreign stuff. Keep them away from me. Can't take this spicy foreign food. Then it's Bungo Stray Dogs, episode 47. In Lament of My Wingless Body. In which we find out who the fifth member of the team is.
Man.
And a locked room murder mystery. Well, maybe a murder.
A locked room about a murderous mystery.
There you go. Yeah.
We're going to meet downtown for the deal, you know, like when we're whizzing her downtown, we just got to get Yosano to fun, heal up fucking like Margaret Mitchell here, a lot of it will be fine, and then if I think this is Spectre, you know, like if Scott Fitzgerald, you wouldn't fucking like go out there, you always hides the winner for saying that's right, because who were the ones that fucking came together like, you know, in a pinch like it was nothing. When they fucking broke the guild, I was years putting that operation back together. It's been hours since they were fully disbanded and on the run, and they're already trying to get the fucking thing back together. So that's my horse. I'm backing them.
Yeah. And
but no one knows
she kind of said, why didn't you do any of the plans where you betray them? And he's like, because they fucking got back up when it took me fucking ages. So I respect game, and yeah, they'll be the guys who win this fucking thing because of they just try that fucking hard.
Yeah,
Yes.
so Yosano, fucking Tanizaki, and Kenji Miyazawa, they're like, no, they've met up with like it's a Black Lizard team, which is Black Lizard himself, Gun Guy and Knife Girl. Tachihara is the gun guy. That'll be important because you need to know who he is.
Yes.
And they've been assigned to protect these, when the port mafia one said, hey, what's we got one guard you boss says so. Boss orders are absolute. I always go by the orders. Orders may be the man I am today. I'm not saying whose orders though. I'm saying orders may be the man I am today.
I did appreciate like when they kind of sneak up on the port mafia and they're kind of hidden around the corners. Like, what are these port mafia guys up there? And they're arguing, like, this is totally a trap. We shouldn't do this. It's like, no, we gotta follow orders. Isn't that right? And looks over at them very badly hiding at the corner. It's like, all right, you got us. Okay. So what's the plan? It's like, well, we're going to wait here. They're going to show up in the ambulance. Oh, there's the ambulance now. Wait, it's a raid. Yeah.
Ambulance explodes.
And we did see our Tiger Boy and Ghost Samurai Girl coming in the ambulance. I was like, oh no, have they been exploded in an ambulance? No, that's a different ambulance. This was the raid ambulance that the police have set up as a sting operation. They really don't mind that guy's shooting guns at them as well because they all have the riot shields, I guess. So
Yeah, and the mysterious figure wearing a hood whose face you can't see starts telekinetically controlling metal and stabs
specifically a sword that is a very familiar looking one.
Yes.
Yeah, a saber, I should say. Yeah.
Who the hell is that? He's showing us his little like necklace, a talisman. But that dude who I kept bringing back to life in the war and carved the days off on that little talisman of himself, he was definitely like dead. I mean, I tried to bring him back again myself. He was super dead. What's he doing here?
And then flashback to the blind guy from the hunting dogs talking about her being an angel of death. So it's like she's thinking, is it him? He's the one who brought it up recently outside of Mori and myself. So
It's all right, no, but we're going to bring it down to the Port Mafia escape tunnel. The fun. It's probably best you three split up. It'd be like a car waiting for you. At each end of it. Just follow the map and you just fun head on down in there. But this isn't before long that they're then attacked again. Joe Sanders getting chased and said, okay, it's all right, fun, like Tachihara and Knife Girl are here. We're going to fun back you up. We're going to seal a store, put a bomb in it, make sure no one can get through. But saying, oh man, Jesus, like fun for all that. You've really like the Port Mafia, and saying, I know, man, because I got a brother, and that's very important. I got a brother who I really looked up to, I thought I had to be like him, I wanted to be like him, I want to be different from him, but I just always looked to him. But then he died and didn't know what to do. But I want to be so different from him that I joined up to Port Mafia, and everyone said, no, some crooked guys couldn't drop on me, and I said, no, just do what we say, And then I thought, well, if I just kind of get really good at this, it's as far from my brother as it possibly can be, So it's fun. It's fun.
So
put my head down,
like,
build myself up into my own man.
Yeah, he wasn't like living in his brother's shadow. He wasn't like doing this other thing. He was being this other guy, and he liked that guy he was being.
Yeah, I think though he's saying specifically like criminal organization rather than mafia.
He says a bunch of crooks, some crooked dudes.
Yeah.
Started making trouble in my neighborhood.
Oh, but prior to this, the Black Lizard has this like, go on, I'll hold him off with his special move, break your sword. It's like, oh, you can control all the pieces of the sword as well. Well, guess I'm getting stabbed to fucking hold off you for a couple of seconds then.
Well, did do something cool.
Yeah.
Before we got offed.
She does get to heal Margaret at some point during all this.
Yeah, she pops up a manhole when she meets our Tiger Boy, and basically that's where our Black Lizard guy has to hold off as a sacrifice. So she's like, let me heal her. All right, you guys drive off. And it's just like, we should probably... That's when she has to meet up with the other Port Mafia.
Oh, that's it.
They have to rescue her.
I'll pick him up first, yeah, and then had to do it. Is it?
There's a little bit of a split between. So Maggie's ready for her part of the bargain with F. Scott Fitzgerald. So yeah.
Yes, then they get attacked by the hooded figure in the sewers, and it turns out to just be a mannequin.
It's that mannequin from the scene before. He was in the background. You could see him there. Look, we'll replay it just so you can watch. And also, it's just like your one stabs the sword. The knife girl stabs the gun guy, and it's like, oh my god, he's controlling my knife. He's stabbing me as well. And it's like, no, that's a mannequin of him. But why didn't the bomb go off when he came in? Wait, this isn't a real bomb. Who set the bomb? Let me try and remember who it could be from like 5 minutes ago.
Who was talking about his brother who he looked up to, who died that one time, just before, if I was saying, oh, here's a cap, here's a cape. You tell her who you are. I'm Tachihara. I'm the younger brother of that dude. And I'm fucking waiting all my life for this.
Time to get my revenge. And she's like, okay, go ahead. And then a bullet is shot, but we don't see where the bullet ends up.
Because she does get in a pretty cool fight with what we think is the guy initially, but it's actually a mannequin he's controlling. But where she's just like, yeah, fucking stab me up. I don't fucking care. I can just heal from every time you cut me open, kind of thing. And I was like, that's pretty badass. He tries to just grab the bomb, shove it in his face. I was like, wait, this bomb is empty. Also, you're a mannequin. Damn. I was looking real cool there for a minute, but oh well.
Yep. So that's our 5th Hunting Dogs member. He's been here longer than the others.
And he does have a power besides I have a gun, which is great.
It may explain why it's a group of guns.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the bullets after they've been shot.
One spills in there, like, you know, and yeah, it isn't like it came out of nowhere. Just like, no, I didn't know that too much about that guy. He just seemed like, you know, just a fill-in dude for an 80s like port mafia caper. If I said, yeah, why couldn't he be? You know, better twist than what kind of something like Line of Duty did versus Fun said, him, really? What? No, it couldn't be that dumb. It is that dumb. Oh, okay.
And I think that's the end of this arc, according to the wiki. I'm not sure there's enough episodes in the series to do the rest of the arc, so we'll see what's coming next week. But
no fucking clue.
Yeah, the next arc is the Sky Casino arc. So I assume it's going to involve a Sky Casino.
Moby Dick's back up and running, and this time it's a casino.
Actually, maybe it's 10 chapters long, and I think they covered like multiple chapters this week's episode. So,
okay.
Maybe there's something they can kind of round off on, you know. Like, it feels like if this was the arc that kind of flew through it, where we just kind of just felt going at that kind of relentless pace because shit is going wrong awfully quickly. You know, it's like things is kind of spiraling. It felt kind of right for us, but I suppose it wouldn't do any good to try and slow that down. It would just hurt it overall, wouldn't it?
11 chapters in 4 episodes, and the next arc is
pretty good one.
The next arc is 10 chapters. So yeah, I guess there's another 4 episodes or thereabouts. There isn't another 4 episodes though, so maybe they can squeeze it into 3.
Maybe they'll try. Yeah.
Yes, we'll see.
Yeah.
Just hope they don't give us another light novel. That's all I'm hoping for.
Please God, no. I mean, because we're getting so good. Because I was even just saying, on Yoshino, she only gets to the fun to say do the medic thing, you know, and that's it. The fun said, oh, okay, this is just this forbidden story now, where she's like put front and center, and I like that. And she's definitely absolutely dead. No, she's not dead. You know, the same way the fucking Doppo was definitely blown up by a hand grenade in midair. You're never going to see him again in the story. Well, I don't think if you can be very sure anybody is dead. You know, that Gogol dude. No, he's probably not dead. You know.
It's less interesting for them to be dead, honestly. So yeah, that works out.
That is Giant Beasts of Arse, episode 10, the Emissary of the Securians. Our 2 favorite characters are back.
Thank goodness. So yeah, the freaking
21 and 24.
21 and 24 show up and it's like one of them's looking out the window with the binoculars. Anything happened out there? Yeah, there's a guy coming up. It's your man with the spear. It's like, fuck. So they call out a bunch of guards. The guards are like, hey, stand down. He's like, I got a magic spear and I'm like got the glowy hair. I'm gonna kick all your asses. And he's like, fire, men. Kicks all their asses. And they're like, we surrender immediately. And he's like, cool, all right, see you guys later. And they run the fuck away. So they're safe. I think they're going to be okay.
They're safe because the rest of the story that goes it also this is high speed escalation in this episode. So our heroes.
I was looking at my watch, kind of like, is this the last episode? Because we're really wrapping things up pretty quick here.
Jailbreak. Yeah, that's their plan. They're going to go to the place where they're making all the kumis, and they're going to rescue them all.
It's like, won't it be hard to convince them 1-to-1? It's like, and your man's just like, I'm just gonna go in, knock him out, like boof on the head. The guy who's hasty, we got a fucking trolley somewhere, and you're gonna load him on the trolley and bring him outside one by one.
Yes.
That's their plan. It's not a good plan, and even the
there's
cat chapo was pointing out, is like, is that a good plan?
There seems to be an element of the plan that the rest of them are not aware of.
There absolutely is.
Yeah.
And obviously Roman is like, as soon as you bop them on the head, I'm going to put like sleeping drugs on their throat to keep them asleep for a little longer, so we can convince them one by one.
Yes.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, because one has been sent out to fight them by Masami, who's given them a pill to fill themselves with anger to fill in the void that exists within their hearts. Meanwhile, Facade's like, no, I got to go and fight this guy because you shouldn't be wasting I can take care of them. I don't want to be. He's got in his mind that the only thing which seems to motivate him is for clerics not to be at risk.
Yeah, that there's definitely that part of his personality has maintained, but he's kind of convinced himself with his like erased memories and shit that just like, I'm doing it because I deserve this fight, and it's like, you're protecting little girl clerics at the same time while doing this. Is like,
so. Jiro smashes the gem inside in his chest, and all of a sudden he's got.
No, my glowing weak point.
My memories are back. Hang on a second. I was going to go and speak to Masami. Then they face the cleric, who she's about to explode, and then just Jiro runs up and punches her in the solar plexus.
And they're like, bring her on the cart. And your man's like, I got the cart right here. It's like, all right, I've strapped drugs to her throat. All right, wheel her out, and we'll get the next couple of ones.
So Facade goes back to
very well.
Facade goes back to Masami, and Masami's very rude to him, and then his human eye is consumed by a giant red glowing eye that emerges from his face, and his arm grows longer, and he throttles Facade. Thinking he's killed him, he should have checked, but he's a bad.
I don't think he cares, because he's like, all right, this was a good experimental paladin, but like, this one's done. This one's out because he's exerting his own will a little too much. We can't be having that. I'm just going to choke him a little, not check that he's dead, and come on, guards, you dispose of the body.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they find all the other clerics, the other Kumis, and they're all about to trigger, and then something which sounds like Mia's voice triggers something in the. And we've also discovered at this point they're in some sort of ancient ruins. This lab's been built in.
It's like you hear the chapeau kind of voice like playing, and there's like I guess like glowy text moving along the lines of the ruins.
Yes,
and it's just like, turn them all off right now.
Yes, and the lines are like the line in The Ring as well. That's the other. There's like the glowing line, which
like the same
later.
kind of tech.
Yeah. And then so it's like, okay, you guys, you load up them. You got a lot of them. You got to keep moving. We're gonna go and chase down Masami. They chase down Masami. Masami has now he's got one glowing eye. Hang on, he's got three glowing eyes. He pulls Kumi out, and
he's standing in front of like a big shut off humanoid beast. Like there's like a glass window between him and that, but he's turning into like a bigger than normal human, but he's a humanoid beast now as well. And he punches into your man and pulls out Kumi, but like punches into like a portal, that punches a hole in his blood or anything, and pulls out Kumi. And is like, all right, fucker, let's fucking have at it.
Slings her across the room,
and Kumi's like, that's not fair. You're kind of cheating there.
Yeah, we also get the reveal here that she was, as we suspected from the dialogue and his reaction to the Bakura saying, like, quote unquote, failed prototype, is that she's actually the perfect one. She's the one.
She's the one that we sent out into the world. Works fucking grand. He's like, fantastic. So you work. So I'll tell you what. You join up with me, and together we can do experiments on the world. And she's like, no, that sucks. You suck.
Yeah. Because he mentioned something which the Securians mentioned later as well. He's talking about how like the non-human races were meant to be servant races to the humans, whether they got bigger ideas.
So his idea is, we were put here by God or gods to dominate the world, but then the other races were supposed to be subservient to us, but they got notions, and now they think they're on the same fucking level as us, so we'll have a big war to put them back in their place.
There's definitely borrowed shots and framing through Evangelion at this point.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, Because Kumi's kind of like, fuck that, I'm gonna turn on this big humanoid beast behind me, and he's like, no, don't grab me and eat me like an Evangelion.
Yes, when she the
Job
ring
done.
the ring glows green, her eyes glow green, and the eyes of the beast glow green as well, as opposed to having the red-eyed ones we've had before. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He punches through the and I was like, oh well, that's Mizami taken care of. Was not expecting it to go that quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Hoist by his own petard. So
Who'd have thunk it? So she collapses because obviously exerting that amount of power. So Jiro's kind of like, we got to get out of here. The whole base is collapsing. You know how this goes. You know
Yes.
this like, yeah, it's gonna go that way. But
so-
they did get the last other Kumi out on that trolley.
Yes.
Where did they get that trolley? I don't know. That was
some
integral
point
part of
during
the plan.
this, facade has recovered.
He's put another gem in the hole. He slaps it in there. It's like, all right, I'm okay. I need to figure out who that woman is in my memory.
Yeah, they get out, and then Tsurugi and the Securians show up, and they're like, "Okay, well, we know that soon the world's going to end, gods are going to return, but in the meantime, we need to seal her cleric powers." I was like, "That's suspicious," and they're also a little bit suspicious.
Yeah.
Jiro's like, "I'm sure Mizami said something very similar when we were speaking to him in the basement."
Yeah, and the Securians story is like, the gods did put humans on the world to control the other species and the other races and that kind of thing, but they did it basically like until we're ready to fucking harvest, and then they're going to come down and fucking kill us all. So when you see those red eyes things happening, that's mean the gods are coming back pretty quick. So we gotta get ready for these motherfuckers, is what they're claiming, which is like your man's story but a little bit different. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. These guys appear to be elves.
The equivalent of it, yeah.
Yes, we see the main one's got his hair covering his ears, but we do see some of the others have got pointy ears. Yeah, he's suspicious. He's a suspicious character, and his story is suspicious. And then Kubi starts coughing up blood, and then Tsurugi has to explain to Jiro, she's probably dying because she's a weapon. There was no point in making weapons live for a very long time.
It's kind of interesting because she's treating him like an old friend, and he's obviously, he knows her as well, but she's a lot fucking colder than the woman he knew from during the war, kind of thing, where she's just like, she was only meant to be a weapon, so she's probably got like a year, 6 months, maybe less. Like, she's not intended to live a long fucking time. Yes. She's intended to be a cleric that's burned out in war. So
we could probably make her live a little longer by sealing those cleric powers of hers as she looks at the ring, which we know she's been sent to recover. Yeah, she doesn't appear to know that there may be evil reasons for recovering that ring, as I suspect the person who wants the ring recovered is so it's not used against them. Because we now know that the ring can control the red-eyed giant beasts. And so what are these gods going to do when they show up if there's somebody here with a magic ring that can tell them to fuck off? Seems
if
to be
you have a bunch of giants around that you can control to beat up gods,
But what are the hats up to? That's what are the chaperones?
What are they fucking up to? They turned off all those Kumis. They're up to shit. They were basically like, hey, their plan's fucking up. Help them with their stupid plan. And it's like, okay, here we go.
This the manifestation of the GM intervention.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm fine with it because it's like God's coming in, so we got to control these giants using magic ancient technology, and it's a race of small children wearing fucking cartoon animals on their head that speak in puns are actually the real fucking threat or thing that will save us. Like, that's great. I'm fine with that.
Possibly both, because as I say, they
both.
They mentioned the human chaperone. Yes.
They definitely have their own things that they're planning. Yeah.
Yes, they're definitely running along an agenda that we're not aware of yet.
So is the Emperor sitting on top of a giant and he's the hat, or does he have a little man on his head, or is he sat on top of the small girl who is actually hiding in the throne? Like, what's going on? Like, we need to know.
Yeah, and we will. I guess it's coming to an end. They put like a video out saying, "Get ready for the conclusion."
Okay.
So I assume the next two. I assume it's a 12-episode series based on that. I assume we're getting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the finale promptly. And that's it for this week.
Hmm.
Next week, there is a Detective Conan.
Yeah.
It is, I think, the final Police Academy arc episode.
Yeah. It's. I mean, like it's going to be like, and then they all fucking die. Yeah.
Yes, quite possible.
Yeah.
Which, that's already viewer.
Hmm.
Yep. And obviously no Iruma. It's ended.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Exactly the same amount of stuff. Maybe a Roboco will show up. Fingers crossed.
That'd be nice.
It would be. It's always a pleasant surprise when it shows up. Otherwise, we'll be back here next week on Wednesday. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah. See ya.